to Fintech Talks with TFN. I am Akansha, the founding editor and also the founder of Tech Funding News. And today we are covering live from the IFGS 2024, which is happening at this prestigious Guildhall in London. And we take this opportunity to actually talk to the brilliant fintech experts which are transforming the fintech ecosystem in the UK and Europe. And joining us today is Steve Pomfret from Cygnetise, and he's the CEO and founder. Lovely. Thank you so much for joining. It has been a crazy day. It's madness over here at the event. And I think you are having the same crazy times today. Thank you so much for joining us. And I would love to talk about your journey. Would you introduce yourself and everything about founding Cygnetise?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. So my name's Steve Pomfret. I worked for banks, not as a banker, but within banking operations for around about 20 years. So my previous employees have been Credit Suisse, UBS.
So how old is Cygnetise?
It's nearly 8 years now.
It's nearly 8 years.
Yeah.
And before that, what were you doing?
So I worked with banks, helping them to operate more efficiently. So I spent like 3.5 years in Moscow for Deutsche Bank. I've been in the South African branch for Deutsche Bank, just trying to help them operate more efficiently, which obviously means using technology.
So you have like literally traveled all over different continents and covered just banking and seeing it change. It goes from banking to fintech and now getting into AI. So how is the landscape like for right now? What do you see? What do you see coming in terms of the future of fintech?
So I think it's what we've seen in the last few years is more the B2C, more customer-focused applications and revolutionising that world. Companies like Revolut and Wise, there's lots of others that are following. Now I think the banks are looking to adopt things themselves. So things are maybe moving a bit more B2B. And also there's more of the reg tech kind of angle as well.
So what makes you excited? Is it open banking? Is it B2B? Is it reg tech?
So I think open banking B2B is going to be a massive thing. So obviously we've seen open banking with B2C, even in South America, some of the emerging markets are now using B2B open banking even more than we are in the, say, more developed markets. So I think that is going to be a really big thing.
But I would like to understand more about what Cygnetise does and how is it solving problems for its customers.
Okay, so every large organization, it doesn't have to be a financial institution, needs to manage who can do what on behalf of their organization, who can sign a check, who can sign a legal agreement, etc. So they manage these on registers, and now that's just Word documents and Excel spreadsheets. And they need to keep track of their employees and make sure that they have some control over what they can do. Now, if a person leaves an organization and they still have the ability to represent that organization, they open themselves up for fraud. So this, believe it or not, is a huge thing within financial institutions and large corporates. So we provide a fit-for-purpose database, which is not too dissimilar to Salesforce, where our customers can manage their employees and their signatory authorities for legal documents, on bank accounts, etc. In the treasury world, it's the biggest use case of what we do.
I know it's very challenging because I'm also a small business owner, and like signatures can be, I mean, it's such a secure thing, especially when you're signing contracts and getting into deals and you're like very scared. So how do you actually, solve that issue for
So there's two issues here. So the first issue is the person who's signing exactly who they say they are? So this is more like the ID companies. So this is like your OnFidos, your ID Nows. And we solve the other side, which is this person actually authorized to sign on behalf of this organization? So where one half of the problem, there's a lot of solutions already out there. We're, I guess, creating a new category And we're kind of like the first. We're like the first to do what we're
into
doing.
signatory management.
No, signatory management. Yes.
Yeah. And also fraud detection is something which Cygnetise is doing as well.
So it kind of goes hand in hand. Yes. So.
And how? I want to understand more about your competition over there in the market right now, and how are you different from them? What sets you apart?
So our main competitors are like ERP systems, and treasury management systems. So companies like SAP, Kyriba, etc. They actually they love what we do because we do it at a more granular level. Some of the bigger tech companies will try to be very broad and cover a lot of different functionality, but not necessarily in the depth that we do. So we are stupidly niche. Like it's like something that's not many people, unless you're actually involved in signatory management yourself, it's not something you'd be familiar with.
I might not be familiar with. But at the same time, I understand why it is important. And I also understand that you're using blockchain technology for that.
We are.
So how does that work?
So, we've been using blockchain technology for a long time now. We were one of the first to do it, and it's still
So how
relevant.
does these two categories combine?
So the technology should be segregated from the actual application itself, from a kind of like a psychological way. So if we're selling the application to our customers, we sell the benefits of what the blockchain actually provides rather than what it actually is. Most people don't understand it, so they still don't understand it. So we sell the fact that our data, our customers own their own data and they can share that on a peer-to-peer basis. It's tamper-proof. So for example, our customer is sharing their banking authorities, their bank mandates with a bank. The bank basically really wants to know that data hasn't been tampered with. And then also we have this, the immutable audit trail. So every change that's actually made, every time somebody changes an authority on one of the employees, it's recorded and it's timestamped. So you know who had what authority at exactly what point in time, and you can retrace that back into history.
That's interesting.
So they're the bits that we actually, rather than say, oh, it's blockchain technology, it's like these are the bits that
That's a very niche tech, actually.
Yeah.
How many people are doing that?
So when you actually break it down like that, probably a lot more than you think. But there's this still, I guess, the people who are involved in AI and the people who are involved in blockchain are more like, we're not selling blockchain. We're not selling AI. We're selling an application
as a technology to make your technology more secure.
Exactly.
And when are you using AI as well? What do you think
yet.
about it? Not yet. Are you planning to?
We're trying to find a way.
It has to be legit, right?
Yeah. So in seriousness, we're not using AI at the moment. We are learning with our customers at the moment. So we've provided them, as I say, we're creating a category. So we've built a product which our customers then use and like, and they come back and basically say, oh, we'd like this now and we'd like that. And so we're kind of listening to the market. So our product roadmap is driven by our customers and the industry.
I'm just trying to figure out how can you use AI into signatory management, because it would be very difficult to have something which can be generated, right?
Yeah, I mean, also I think this might be controversial, but the use of AI, the AI term is completely overused.
Yeah, that's also true. Well, the market is selling on that. The VCs are sending all their writing checks on that.
So one of the things that might be quite close and similar is whereby you actually partner with the ID providers or the e-signature protocols, where they're looking to they work out or they identify whether that person is the right person to sign or is the person who they say they are. Combined with us, then using a bit of logic and arguably AI within the documentation, then you can prevent point of signature people from signing at when they actually sign a document.
Oh,
So,
wow.
for example, imagine if you were doing something on DocuSign and you went to sign it and said, sorry, you can't.
No.
So this is technically possible at the moment.
You have last year got a oversubscribed pre-series A round, right? And you got spearheaded by like Syndicate, UK Investment Syndicate, Adjuo, and Massive.
Yeah.
So,
Massive are from the States, so we're lucky we've got.
So why did you choose a US investor?
We will be expanding to the US. We've got quite a lot of US customers. The difference between the UK and the US investors are quite large.
And that is?
The US approach is generally to take the entire market. So the UK VCs are generally more reserved, I'm going to say, or are more careful. So they will look at, like, not necessarily, they always look at the market size, but rather than only considering taking the winning the market, taking the whole market, they will be slightly more reserved. But then, of course, it's like you might be slightly more compelling to. There's like pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
So we're mixing it up. We've got UK and US.
Okay. And when are you planning to expand to the US market?
Within the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay, that's great. And are you planning to expand more towards the East Coast or the West Coast, or there's another market?
So the use case, very good question. So the use case for us is working directly within banks. We have two different business models. Our direct B2B model, we can sell to any organization in any geography above a certain amount of employees. But then we have the B2B2B model where we sell directly to the banks. And for this instance, it has to be the East Coast and New York.
Yeah. So what is the growth potential at Cygnetise at the moment? And what is the headroom of growth you are looking at as the founder and also with your team?
So this is very interesting. So the market size, thus potential for growth, is loads bigger than...
because there's a lot of wide gap in the market for this, right?
Yeah, it's a lot bigger than we actually thought it was.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like, I don't know, the other way round, where you're like, oh yeah, the market's like super huge, and then it's like, well, actually, it starts narrowing.
But there would be a lot of challenges.
For us, it seems to have just got bigger and bigger. We keep finding more and more use cases and more demand. So our speed of growth is pretty much directly related to the amount of money we raise. So at the moment, we're like in... How
much was your pre-seed round?
So it's £2.5 million, $3 million approximately.
So are you planning to raise more now?
Oh yeah, we definitely will raise more. No, we don't, not right at this minute. So we are expanding. We're up to 16 employees now. So we've done, and we've got over 40 countries covered as well. So with 16 people.
And this is largely Europe and US?
Yeah, Middle East as well.
Okay. Got it.
US, Europe, and even Europe, mainland Europe's quite difficult. We've got a lot of customers.
What are the challenges in Europe, because they have their own languages, right?
There's that. The thing is, it's like each country has very different culture. So if you think about the proximity, you have like Spain, France, Italy, Germany, Belgium, Holland. They're all like pretty unique, have their unique ways of doing things.
So what are the biggest challenges that you face as Cygnetise?
I think it's actually having people from those, maybe the French people prefer it if you speak French to them, and if we're more culturally similar, which obviously the larger we grow, then the more we can actually sort of develop that diversity.
Yeah.
So,
talking about diversity, how diverse is your team, and how do you think that diversity and inclusivity actually adds to the per capita growth of the company and also the industry as a whole? Does that make sense at all?
Yeah. Yes. So I think when you're starting a company, it's harder to be more diverse for all sorts of different reasons. So when you've got like 2 or 3 or 4 people, but the more that you're actually growing, the more you can actually see the requirement for it. You don't want like the same, whether it's like I'm middle-aged man, for example. It's just like I don't know necessarily how I'm out of touch with how the younger people may operate. Yet the younger people need to kind of learn from the sort of the older people, maybe dealing in a B2B environment.
Of course, we need.
And then there's different cultures, and then there's the.
I think old is an idea now. It's a choice that you make. Old is gone.
But in every different like factor, whether it's like culturally, like gender, or like a balance is best.
Got it. I think I would like to move to the next segment of this particular interview and talk to you more as a founder and your journey. So I would love to know the moments when you decided that you want to pursue and go with Cygnetise. What was that moment? Would you like to share that story with us?
So I was working with the large banks, and my last employer I was with for 7.5 years, so I guess I'm pretty loyal. And I loved my job. I was kind of like an internal consultant, so I was advising how to resolve inefficiencies and reduce risk, and how to use technology to improve that. I figured that it wasn't really like a career progression. I was just doing the same job, which I loved, and it's like I want to do something like a bit different. So I kind of figured that if I really want to do something different, then I'm better off by actually doing it myself. So I started to experiment and look at a few different options and maybe get into technology. I got interested in blockchain, so I went to some evening classes and some meetups. This
was like 8 years ago.
This is like 2015, 2016.
Oh, wow.
And when I
of course it was there. Yeah.
And when I understood what blockchain technology, when I actually finally understood it, I realized that, hold on, I'm in a quite powerful position, because I know all the problems the banks have and how to implement technology into banks. And now I understand about blockchain technology, and not many people knew both. So I started to look at the real use cases outside cryptocurrency. And I was kind of like analyzing like which ones could be get a thumbs up, had a really good business case, and therefore were worth creating a business over. The main thing I was looking at was actually finding something that didn't already utilize technology, because it's like if you're using a new technology, it's quite difficult to replace it, because it's bound to be more inefficient.
Yeah, the transformation is the difficult part.
So I kind of was like mentoring, advising people I knew, explaining what blockchain was, and looking for ideas. And then one of my associates, a co-founder, it's like, you had to deal with like authorized signatories. You must have been an authorized signatory. And I was like, genius.
And where did you meet your then co-founder?
We knew each other from potentially doing a bit of consultancy work with each other. He was like, what do you think? And I'm just like, this is huge. This is exactly the kind of application that you need for this embryonic technology, whereby you're kind of just sharing data from one company to another company in a really secure way. It's not overcomplicating it.
Yeah. No, it's actually interesting to know the story of ideation of a startup, because then you realize that, okay, this is when the founder thought of the idea and they went for it. And I think you need a lot of drive and focus to be sustainable in that very idea, because I just feel it takes 5 years to basically get into it.
100, yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. Because the first 2 years are like, okay, you're hustling, but you have like 20 years of experience, and there would be, was it easy for you? Was it very difficult for you? How was it? Like, any moment where you faced like, maybe this was the biggest challenge which I had while...
So first of all, I'm going to say I've never ever regretted, and I personally find it, I think it is everybody has certain types of personality. I maybe was never a big corporate personality and was more of a startup, kind of more of the startup mentality.
Okay.
As far as like coming across things that may have been challenging, I mean, oh my God, it happens all the time. Like all the time. And I think every startup founder will say the same thing. And I don't know, now when things crop up, it's just like, it's kind of part of your job.
Which actually inspired you during your entrepreneurial journey, or any resources you were referring to for more motivation, or any books that you would like to share?
Crossing the Chasm.
Yeah.
Crossing the Chasm. Have you heard of that?
Yeah,
Everyone says that. Right? It's like the Bible. Everywhere.
Yeah, it's like the Bible.
Yeah.
And any other resources or podcast you hear?
There's so many. To be fair, I probably have like 2 or 3. In the early days, I had like 2 or 3 friends who were basically doing startups, and they were, oh, you've got to listen to this, or you've got to do this, or this is a mistake I made. Try not to do the same thing. So to be fair, in the early days, it was more like friends. People. I got advice from people who were close to me. So.
No worries. Anything else you would like to share with us?
It could be all day.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining us. And with Fintech Talks with TFN, it was lovely to have you and know more about the growth of Cygnetise and everything you're planning. So best of luck. And thank you everyone for joining us. And we'll be meeting more interesting fintech experts for insightful conversations. So stay tuned at TFN. Thank you. This is Akansha Timbury signing off.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.